SNP savaged over pilfering failed Corbynite ideas to distract from crumbling unity. The SNP has come under furious attack over plans to introduce a 4-day working week in Scotland, with one expert accusing Nicola Sturgeon's party of pilfering failed Corbynite proposals in a desperate attempt to distract from its own policy failures and crumbling internal unity. The Scottish Conservatives have warned the SNP's plan could blow a huge £2.5 billion hole in Scotland's already vulnerable economy. Last month at its annual conference, party members voted overwhelmingly in favour of a 4-day working week by a margin of 1,136 votes to 70, calling on the Scottish Government to launch a review of working practices in Scotland, including the possibility of a 4-day week. But employment law is still controlled by Westminster, meaning any policy aimed at reducing working hours could only be introduced if the SNP is successful in a second referendum on Scottish independence. If the SNP press ahead with the plan, it would mirror a pledge made by the Labour Party in their manifesto for last December's general election, with then-leader Jeremy Corbyn promising to cut the full-time weekly work to 32 hours within a decade and without workers' salaries being reduced. However, that proposal was also torn apart, with critics warning it would tank the economy, cripple firms and cost more than £10 billion each year. Ben Harris-Quinney, chairman of the Bow Group think tank, had warned Labour's plans would cripple 6 million businesses, driving them out of business with economically illiterate schemes dreamed up in the student union. John MacDonald, head of government affairs at the Adam Smith Institute think tank, lashed out at the proposal from Ms Sturgeon's party, and told Express.co.uk, "Pilfering failed Corbynite proposals looks like a desperate attempt to distract from the SNP's own policy failures and crumbling internal unity." Given that Scotland would have to gain independence to implement such a policy, paying off that £2.5 billion would fall to the Scottish taxpayer. If the SNP were honest about the true cost of an independent Scotland and a 4-day week, they would likely be much less popular. The idea of working less for the same pay sounds great but will be much less appealing after being battered by the inevitable tax rises that follow. He added, an independent Scotland would also need to assert itself as internationally competitive to retain and attract investment. Requiring all employees to work less than anywhere else in the world would hardly boost confidence.